A very good evening to all brothers and sisters in the Dhamma. Today is the 23rd May 2023, Tuesday class. So we will be continuing our sharing from this book, the wonderful Dhamma Lotus Flower Sutra 妙法蓮華經. We are at page 458. We will continue from there. We are using this commentaries book by Venerable Master Hsuan, Volume 3, Chapter 2, Expedient Devices. Okay, as usual, let us gather, then we can have our physical puja. Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛 Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛 Namo 本师释迦牟尼佛 Namo 觀世音菩薩 Namo 觀世音菩薩 Namo 觀世音菩薩 Namo 阿彌陀佛 Namo 阿彌陀佛 Namo 阿彌陀佛 Namo 彌勒佛 Namo 彌勒佛 Namo 彌勒佛 Namo 普賢菩薩 Namo 普賢菩薩 Namo 普賢菩薩 Namo 地藏王菩薩 Namo 地藏王菩薩 Namo 地藏王菩薩 Namo 佛菩薩 Namo 佛菩薩 Namo 佛菩薩 Arahang Sama Sambuddho Bhagava Buddhang Bhagavantang Abhivademi Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Dhammang Namasami Supatipanno Bhagavato Sāvaka Sangho Sanghang Namami Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa Buddhang Saranang Gacchami Dhammang Saranang Gacchami Sanghang Saranang Gacchami Dutiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami Dutiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami Dutiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami Tatiyampi Buddhang Saranang Gacchami Tatiyampi Dhammang Saranang Gacchami Tatiyampi Sanghang Saranang Gacchami Panatipata Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami Adina Dana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami Kamesu Miccācara Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami Musavada Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami Surameraya Majjhapamapadatthana Veramani Sikkhapadang Samadhiyami. Okay, Padipa Puja, offerings of light. Ganna Sarapatitena Dipena Tamadangsina Diloka Dipang Sambuddhang Pujayami tamonudang Ganda sambara yutena Dopena hang sukhang hina Pujaye pujaniyang tang Puja vachana muttamang Vanna kanda guno petang Tang kusuma santatin Pujayami munindasa Siri pada sarurohe Pujemi bedang kesumena nena Punnena matena cha hotu mokhang Pupang milayati yatta idang me Kayo tata yati vinasa bhavang Adivase tu no bante Paniyang parikapitang Anukampang upadaya Patigan hatu muttamang Adivase tu no bante Pale parikapitang Anukampang upadaya Patigan hatu muttamang Adivase tu no bante Bojanang parikapitang Anukampang upadaya Patigan hatu muttamang. Now we shall chant the Puja aspiration based on our understanding of the significance of all these Puja offerings. Significance of offering of light. May this offering of light to the Buddha brings forth the causes and conditions to illuminate our mind and help arise the needed clarity and understanding to dispel all darkness or ignorance therein. Significance of offering of water. May this offering of pure, clear, cool water lead us to the pure, clear Dhamma that cools and doses off the fires of all defilements within our mind. Significance of offering of incense. May our virtue, morality, virtue, and understanding shine forth far and wide, just like the fragrance of this incense, which we are offering to the Blessed One, who is perfect in wisdom and virtue. Significance of offering of all these fruits. May the offering of these fruits remind us of the Dana Parami of generosity and the fruit of all karma, so that we will diligently strive on with heedfulness to attain the path and fruition soon as possible. Significance of offering of flowers. May this constant offering of flowers to the Blessed One strengthen our faith and constantly remind us of the impermanence of this body, so that we will diligently and sincerely strive on to cultivate Sila, Samadhi, and Panya, leading to ultimate liberation, the born-free Nibbana. Making of overall aspiration. By the power of all these merits born of these offerings, may our spiritual faculties of Saddha, Virya, Sati, Samadhi, and Panya be further strengthened until they become balas or powers, sharing and transform merits to all beings. May these merits be shared, transferred to all beings without exception, especially to those who have the condition and affinity to receive them. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, let us pay respect to Puja. Badang Pujemi. Dhammang Pujemi. Sanghang Pujemi. Just relax body and mind and maintain some form of attention. Then we shall off the light and you all can have, as usual, your half an hour of awareness-based meditation. Ability to stabilize your inner awareness, to develop the meditative mind is most important. So all meditation start with heedfulness. Without the awareness nature within, you cannot be mindful. And when you cannot be mindful, you cannot stabilize it to be ever mindful. If you cannot stabilize it to be ever mindful, you don't have the stability to meditate. Means constantly meditative in that state. So heedfulness is basically the ability to train the mind to be ever mindful, then use it to meditate, to cultivate the Noble Eightfold Path as taught by the Buddha. So cultivation of Noble Eightfold Path can only proceed when the stability of inner awareness is there, mindfulness, sati, when you can be in the state of silent, aware, to observe, to insight into phenomena, to develop understanding and to awaken, and lastly also to develop the contemplative wisdom. The mind that is in the state of awareness, the meditative state, has this ability to contemplate, to reflect, to develop understanding. So this part of the training is very important. Without stability of mindfulness, heedfulness is impossible. So training to be aware, stabilizing it is very important. Okay, so please be reminded the 4 support to stabilize your awareness within. The first 3 is very important. The first support is always relax. Ability to relax is number 1, most important. If you cannot relax, you cannot be in the state of meditative awareness, because that state is a free mind in complete relaxation. Relax into body and mind. Whatever that arises, just relax into it, finish. Aware, finish. The second support is maintain awareness within. This awareness, you need to develop the stability of it. So when you can stabilize it, that is the third support. So relax, maintain awareness, stabilizing the awareness. These first 3 support is very important. When you can do that, the mind will settle down and become very quiet, very still. That is your free mind, returning to its original state of stillness, tranquility, clarity, awareness. That state is the meditative state. That's why the meditative mind is tranquil, still, without thought. When thought arises, you cannot be in that state of awareness anymore. You already preoccupied with the thought process, the thinking, the stirring, the emotion, the reaction. Then the mundane activity of your thinking mind or mundane mind, all the sankhara activity and movement, they arise from that nature. And basically, it's through delusion, not understanding who are you, what are you, and how all this come about. We are basically, as a human being or a living being, we have a physical form. They call it rupa. Then we have the mind, the consciousness trapped inside. So this form and mind, they are very critical within the form and mind or the human entity. So the human being has these two parts. The second part is the mind, the consciousness. That one is more important. You can break it up into 4 more aggregates to develop clear understanding. We only need to inquire what can our mind do. Then these 4 aggregates will surface. Your mind can feel pleasant, unpleasant feeling, hot and cold. All this is the ability of the mind to feel. That is the first aggregate, feeling. That's a Vedana. Then when things stir or disturb your mind, then you are lured into pleasant and unpleasant or neutral feeling. That's why this feeling will move. And when they move, means you are already creating that emotion or movement. Your like and dislike, your pleasant and unpleasant sense experience. So these two are mental hindrance. The Buddha called it sensual desire and ill will. So when sensual desire and ill will arise, they are mental hindrance, mind state that hinders your mind from entering the meditative state of inner peace, inner calmness, and inner awareness. Then how can you be mindful? You can't. That's why you have to relax, maintain awareness, silence everything. Don't try to know, don't try to do anything. Just develop the stability of it. Then from there, when you arise, you will understand. Then you will come to know clearly, who are you? What are you? Apart from feeling, you will come to realize you can also get to know things by perceiving whatever you come to know through your senses. You can perceive what you see, what you hear, what you smell, what you tactily feel and think. So these are the 6 sense doors where you can arise the perception of mind. So feeling and perception are very important mind activity. Then the third ability of the mind is to create sankhara activity, mental activity, all of the emotion, the mind states that you develop. Then your planning, your scheming, your whatever mind state like phobia, insecurity, or joy, peacefulness, tranquility, or whatever. All these are mind state, sankhara. So sankhara, there are a lot. Basically, there is a total of 52 mind states called sankhara. And these 52 include feeling and perception. That's why together they form the content of consciousness, Vedana, Sanya, and Sankhara. All this is what the pure Vijnana able to receive when we input this content through our memory, our brain, our views, opinion, conditioning, and belief system. All this content will go in, especially our mental conditioning. So when it enters, then the mind becomes full of this content. So the receptacle is the pure consciousness before it becomes a thought. So the other ability of mind is our mind can also become conscious. Conscious of what we see, what we hear, what we smell, what we taste, what we tactily feel and think. So 6 types of respective mind consciousness, they can arise. And when they arise, like the physics experiment, the Buddha said, upon contact, the light bulb lights up. So at the moment of contact, in the seeing, there is only that consciousness, the seeing consciousness. No one to see as yet. Similarly, hearing. In the hearing, there is only the hearing consciousness, no one to hear. It goes the same for smell, taste, tactile, and thought process. There is nobody inside there. It's just that pure consciousness. But the moment you input the content, the egoic mind that creates the movement introduces the ego. So that egoic mind will transform the content of consciousness and make it egoic. Then you deludedly believe, I see, I hear, I smell, I taste, I feel, I think. Then you believe there is a thinker behind the thought. There is an entity that see, that hear, that smell, that taste, that tactily feel and think. That is sakkaya delusion. So our meditative awareness is to see this, to understand this. When we see and understand this, we awaken. Then we realize all along it was only this delusion that trapped the living being. And the evil roots of greed, hatred, and delusion, they manifest from this egoic mind. Without the egoic mind, there is no evil roots. There is no selfishness, sakkaya. There is no emotion, anger, hatred, fear, worry, anxiety, sorrow. All these are mind state born of the egoic mind's movement. So when we have the awareness to see all this clearly, awaken and break free, then the mundane mind realizes itself and ceases. Then when it ceases, it realizes that mundane mind was never intrinsic within that nature. That nature, before it arises, there was nothing at all. That's why in the 6th Patriarch Platform Sutta, Huineng, in his stanza, where he tear apart Sun Xiu's poem, he said, this mind, the true mind, not the mundane mind, not the thinking mind, originally is empty. 本来无一物，何处惹尘埃呢? If it's originally empty, then where can the dust alight? The dust are defilement created by the mundane mind, the duality, everything is your own creation through delusion, through sakkaya, through your wrong view. So when you see all this, you awaken. This is the real meditation. So training your mind to be aware is the most important. Unless you are in that state of stability to have the ability to observe and awaken to all this, you cannot realize the Buddha's teaching. You cannot insight into the 3 universal characteristics of nature, anicca, dukkha, anatta. You cannot see things as they are. You cannot understand the movement, your own sankhara activity, born of wrong view. But when you awaken, when this wisdom is there, then you act differently. You will no longer act like before, using memory, using your views, opinion, and conditioning and belief system. No more. You don't act from that type of deluded knowledge, wrong view. You act from wisdom, born of the direct seeing, the silent mind, the awaken to all this. Then from there, you act. So acting according to memory is not acting at all. Instead, you have to act according to Dhamma way, which is the wisdom way, following the teachings of the Buddha. And the meditation that the Buddha has taught us is the Noble Eightfold Path. So if you cultivate this Noble Eightfold Path, you will have the embodiment of this Noble Eightfold Path. Means you become noble beings with noble qualities. You have noble right view, right thought, right speech, right action, right livelihood. Then the four right effort that constantly purify. Then right sati leading to right samadhi. Right sati and samadhi is what the formal meditation is. Stabilizing your mind to be aware, developing the right mindfulness, awareness within, then stabilizing it to become samadhi. Means that mind that is mindful and aware has become very stable, so that samadhi is that ability of the mind to be unwavering, collected, unwavering. That's why it has the stability. Then it accumulates into samadhi. So the stability of sati is samadhi. Before the stability come in, is just the initial mindfulness, the awareness, which is not stable. And most people can't even understand what that thing is, because they normally hardly get even a glimpse of what that awareness or sati is, because their mind think a lot. Is hardly in the state of silent inner awareness to experience that. And even they experience it, it straight away becomes so peaceful, so quiet, so tranquil, and so still. You instead experience that joy, that pity, that calmness, the spiritual rapture of pity, you call it. Then after that you continue to refine upon it. It can become very blissful. Then you get like distracted, caught in that beautiful, refined mind state of pity. Then you overlook the awareness nature. The awareness nature is nothing but just aware. But when it becomes a mind state, it actually starts to develop into sankhara already, but without the cultivator knowing what that thing is. Whereas the cultivator that is not aware of all this movement does not understand. Whereas the cultivator, before he awakens, he doesn't know that he has two minds. The true mind, the silent mind, the inner awareness nature, the pure awareness, before the arising of the mundane mind. That differentiation they cannot see, they cannot be aware. That's why the beginning of meditation is the beginning of ability to be aware, to realize these two minds. Once you have the ability to identify and realize that you have these two minds, that is the beginning of understanding. Then from the silent mind, which is your true mind, you can observe and understand a lot of things. You can insight into phenomena. You can see things as they are. You can awaken and develop the understanding. So hopefully with this understanding, it will let you develop the faith to train yourself. Don't be impatient. Don't try to know. Don't try to progress. Forget about all those things. Just stabilize your awareness. For those who have gone through, they will know. Once the sati is there, the awareness is there, develop, you will understand yourself, you will progress yourself. Things become very different. Where all this teaching that the Buddha taught, the Dhamma, the essential Dhamma, they arise from that silent mind, the inner nature, which is Huineng's first hallmark, the hallmark of no thought, wu nian. When you are without thought means the awareness nature is there. Where that is the nature that arises before the thinking. Once the thought arises, that awareness nature is being clouded by it. You become lost in thought, preoccupied with what you are thinking, your movement, your reaction, the stirring of the mind. And that movement take over and make you heedless, and continue with the proliferation of thought and thinking. That's how heedlessness comes to be. because you don't have the clarity of mind to understand what is going on. And because of that, you deludedly cling, grasp, and hold on to all this creation by the thought process. The mundane creation, we are the mundane mind, the heedless thinking mind. And that mind is not the true mind, where it's dependent originating, condition arising, cause of phenomena. It's not a permanent unchanging entity that you can grasp onto, cling onto, and hold onto, and make use of. No. So all this is what awareness-based meditation is all about, to develop this ability to see all this clearly and awaken. You can slowly, mindfully come out of meditation. Try to maintain whatever inner peace, inner calmness, and inner awareness that you have developed for as long as you can. These are the mind states that you need to live life, to develop the daily mindfulness and heedfulness in the midst of life. Invocation to the Devas. In this universe, in the entirety, let the deities or Devas come here. Let them hear the good teachings of the King of Sages that gives heaven and release, Nibbana. This is the time to listen to the teaching. This is the time to listen to the teaching. This is the time to listen to the teaching. Samanta Chakawalesu Atra Gachantu Devata Saddhamang Munirajasa Sunantu Sakemokadang Dhamma Svanan Kalo Ayang Badanta Dhamma Svanan Kalo Ayang Badanta Dhamma Svanan Kalo Ayang Badanta Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa Iti Beso Bhagava Arahang Samma Sambuddho Vijja Charana Sampanno Sugato Lokavidu Anuttaro Purisa Dhammasarti Satta Deva Manusanang Buddho Bhagavati Swakato Bhagavata Dhammo Sanditiko Akaliko Ehipaseko Panayiko Pachyatang Veditabo Vinohiti Supatipano Bhagavato Sangho Ujupatipano Bhagavato Sangho Nyayapatipano Bhagavato Sangho Samicipatipano Bhagavato Sangho Yadidang Chatari Purisa Yukani Atta Purisa Pukala Esa bhagavato sāvaka sangho Ahuneyo pahuneyo dakineyo anjali karaneyo Anutarang punyang ketang lokasati Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, you all can be seated. Then we shall continue from where we stopped. Turn to page 458 of the wonderful Dhamma Lotus Flower Sutta, volume 3, chapter 2, Expedient Device. The commentaries by Tibetan Master Hsuan. Okay, so the sutra continue. The sutra says, therefore, Sariputta, I set forth expedients for them, speak of the way to suffering's end, and demonstrate nirvana. Although I speak of nirvana, it is not true extinction. All dhammas from their origin are ever marked by still extinction. So this meaning is very deep. All dhamma from their origin, the word is, means from that nature, the original nature, are ever marked by still extinction. Because that nature is actually the oneness nature, extinction, cessation of form and mind, the unconditioned. From there, everything arises. That's why all Dhamma are from the origin. They are ever marked by still extinction. So when the Buddha's disciple, when they have walked this path, in the future, they will become Buddhas, Sammasambuddha. Then Sakyamuni Buddha says, he possessed the power of expedience, all these expedient ways, and demonstrate the Dhamma of the three vehicles. Because when he first came out to share and teach, he need to actually prepare the living beings before they can develop the final teaching. So there are basically 3 stages. That's why they call it the three vehicles. He initially teach the sainthood way, or they call it the Theravada tradition type of sainthood way teaching. Then after that, he moved on to the Pajjeka Buddhas. Pajjeka Buddhas are the conditioned enlightened one. They do not have to go through the Four Noble Truths. Even when there is no sasana, the Pajjeka Buddha can also awaken by realizing the Paticca Samuppada or the 12 links. So the sainthood way, the Buddha called it the sound hearer. Those who listen to his teaching during the sasana, they awaken. That's why sainthood way, the sound hearer, there are a lot of them, because during the sasana, a lot of them awaken. But the other vehicle, the Pajjeka Buddha, they call it, some call it the silent Buddha, where they don't have a sasana. Not to say they cannot teach, they can teach, but they don't have a sasana. So they call it the silent Buddha. So this second vehicle, they are more difficult to find. There are not as many as the sound hearer. But then when these two are ready, it is during the final stage where the Buddha is ready to teach the supreme vehicle, which he called it the Bodhisattva way, leading to Sammasambuddhahood. At that time, it depends on people having the affinity or condition to receive that type of teaching. So for those who have not undergone the first two vehicles, sainthood way and the Pajika Buddha training, very likely they also cannot follow and they will not have the condition to receive them. But most who go through the sainthood way and the Pajika Buddha way, they can follow. But yet, during Sakyamuni Buddha's time, when he spoke this sutta, there was a number. I forgot the actual number already. Don't know, 5,000 or 10,000. They still walk out because they are not ready to receive all this teaching. So here he said, Sakyamuni Buddha possessed the power of expedience, means skillful means, expedient devices, and demonstrate the Dhamma of the three vehicles. But then he explained, he said, you must understand, Sakyamuni Buddha said, all the world-honored one, means the fully enlightened one, Sammasambuddha, they speak the Dhamma of one vehicle. Actually, there is only one vehicle. Now all of you assembled here should cast your doubt aside. The speech of all Sammasambuddha is the same. There is only one vehicle, not even two, the supreme vehicle. So this is to actually give faith to cultivators of the way, who may not have that complete understanding. Because a lot of them, especially the Theravada tradition type of training, they are very contented with already achieving the sainthood way, realizing the first stage of sainthood, second stage of sainthood, the third stage of sainthood, leading to arahantaship. Then no more becoming, no more coming back, no more suffering. Then like job done, then this is. But the ultimate understanding is the complete understanding. That's why the Buddha vehicle, the supreme vehicle, is the one that has the ultimate understanding. And that vehicle is very different, very extensive, very, very extensive. And it demands a lot of faith, a lot of sincerity, perseverance, and understanding to go this way. That's why you need to strive on with heedfulness to continuously manifest that Bodhisattva vow, take that vow, and from there make your aspiration, determine affirmation of truth, to continuously, life after life, cultivate the four basic vows of the great Bodhisattva to become Sammasambuddha. Then after that, evolving your own additional vow to actually help you develop the understanding further. And all this, you can continue to develop them until that training become very, very unique, very beautiful. And more bodhisattvas, as they go this way, they will realize Sammasambuddhahood in their own way. And all of this, they combine to become the supreme vehicle that all Sammasambuddha will end up sharing and teaching. That's why this ultimate vehicle, the one vehicle, will be the one that continuously develop, and it will continue to exist within the existential world. With this, it still takes so long. It still needs so much understanding, cultivation, perfection to deliver all this. So not easy. Huh? Okay, we go into the commentaries. There are some outline. L3 is to explain that small vehicle is spoken because of the five turbidity. That period where there is this five turbidity. Turbid means not clear, you cannot see. Then L4 is the part where Sammasambuddha explained that small vehicle is spoken for the sake of the great vehicle. So there are two reasons. First is the five turbidity, where during that time very difficult to actually come out of that delusion. Where this period of turbidity really create delusions. It's like cloud your nature, prevent you from realizing your true nature. And because of that, all this combined with karmic, all the karmic created this five turbidity that prevent living being from awakening. So the explanation of the small vehicle initially for the sake of living being to clear the five turbidity is very important. Then subsequently this small vehicle also help to generate interest for the great supreme vehicle. So K5 is verifying the validity of the above statement. Okay, now we go into the commentary. Therefore, Sariputta, I, Sakyamuni Buddha, said that people are all difficult to save or take across. Why are they difficult to save or take across? Simply because they are too deluded. Here they use the word stupid. Mahayana pardon them for using such strong word, stupid. It's actually too deluded. They are so deluded that if you teach them the genuine Dhamma, they do not understand. So this is very true. It's just like when I started, even after 15 years from 1989, when I was first requested by Sister Yunchan to come out to share, then I agreed finally with the three conditions. When I started the sharing, I also cannot go straight into the what they call the genuine Dhamma teaching or the true teaching, because if I speak in that way, everybody will run away. Well, it's so different from what living beings are used to studying or cultivating or are known to learn about. So all this is very natural because the conditioned world cannot comprehend, and unless there are great beings, enlightened beings, nobody can understand. So the teaching is normally distorted. They are not the authentic true teaching. That's why when I was about to come out to share, I realized what I realized was almost 100% the opposite of what the world knows, what people think or believe in. So during that time, it was not easy. So I also have to start with the expedient way or skillful means to share based on what people can accept at that time. So I do not like straight away tell cultivator of the way, oh, what you do is wrong. Method and technique, they are not the meditation. They are only one. If I say that, everybody will run away. Then you tell them, don't think. They will think you are nuts. How can you not think? You must be crazy. So a lot of these things at that time, you can't say. You are living being. They are caught in that. That is their way of life, way of thinking, way of belief system, conditioning at that time. So to slowly actually teach, to let them finally understand and change over and transform is not easy. Luckily now there is the sasana. If there is no sasana without the teaching, I also don't know how to teach these people. Nobody will have faith and believe what I say. But they say, who are you? You are just a lay person, you're not even a monk. And all the things you teach and share is very weird. They never heard before. But at least, as I share and teach, then I later on link it back to the teaching. Then they realize there is another way to explain the teaching. And this one they can put to test. Then they can develop the investigative understanding and understanding. Then benefit from it and awaken it. That's why they are willing to change over, give it a try. Then when they start to see certain new people achieving good results, developing the ability to transform and become different, then they also develop the faith and move. That's why over the past almost 19 years already, next year is our 20th anniversary since I came out to share in the year 2004. So 2024 next year. So it took almost 15 years before that sharing become what it is today, more meaningful. And by now it's already very, very different because we have the website, we have the understanding, then we have that transcript notes and all the teaching. So all this has made a big difference to what it was in the early years. Okay, now I will go into the explanation part of what Sakyamuni Buddha is trying to do. So he said they are also deluded that if you teach them the genuine Dhamma, they do not understand it. That's precisely what I realized too. They doubt it and wonder, that is what you say, but I do not know if it's the truth or not. I do not know if this is true Dhamma. I set forth, Sakyamuni Buddha said, expedient ways for them. Then I set up some provisional expedient Dhammadal and speak of the way of sufferings. Speak of way to end suffering. This one they are more interested to solve their life problem. In fact, when I started in the early days, a lot of people came to me where they got First Noble Truth reality problem or suffering problem. Then Sakyamuni also say, I speak the three type of storehouse teaching, so they may free from suffering. So it is said. That's why he taught the Four Noble Truths and his three turning first, which I later also started with that. Because I have to revert my teaching to basic essential Dhamma. From the basic essential Dhamma, I zoom into the Four Noble Truths and its three turning. But that is the initial teaching of the Buddha. They call it the Dhammacakkappavattana Sutta, the first proclamation of his teaching, or they call it the first sermon. So during that time, he was able to summarize all of life, mundane and supramundane, into just Four Noble Truths, so beautiful. Then to cultivate the wisdom that you can realize out of this Four Noble Truths, he turned it 3 times. Each turning corresponds to one aspect of truth or wisdom. That's why the first turning, Suttamaya Panya, the wisdom born of hearing the sutta. Then the second turning is Chintamaya Panya, wisdom born of constant contemplation, reflection, and inquiry into the truth that has been proclaimed. Then finally is the meditative wisdom, Bhavana Maya Panya, means wisdom born of the direct seeing, the meditative training, the silent mind that awaken. So these three types of turning correspond to the three types of wisdom spin off from the Four Noble Truths, and they become like very important, where it helps you develop the understanding of life and how to live life, and how to develop the wisdom to liberate your mind, to be free from all suffering. And that is what living beings are looking forward to. That's why this initial teaching, the skillful means, is very important. Without this Four Noble Truths and its three turning, the essential Dhamma, the secret of life, to understand all this, then to go the supreme way, the supreme vehicle, nobody will do it. But when you understand this, then it becomes very interesting. Then later on, when I start to go deeper into the Mahayana Sutta, the Bodhisattva way, people can follow, and people like, because that is the summary of the secret of life behind existence. Then you understand the condition, the mother unconditioned, and then you know how to move. Then you see the beauty of that way. That's why I always say the Bodhisattva way, although very extensive, very long, but it's really rewarding. And it's so different from the Sinhood way. So this is what that teaching is all about. Okay, now I go back. From here, I can explain to you all in a more clearer manner so that you can comprehend better. Then with this understanding later on, you have the condition to realize all this, transform. You also can develop a very stable base to share this type of teaching. Because I realize it's not easy unless you have your past or you have developed all this understanding, which I'm trying to share with you all. It's not easy really. So here the Buddha teach the Four Noble Truths and its three turning. Here he summarized it differently. He just quote the second turning. So here in the Shenhua's explanation, he just in a commentary says, so it is said, no suffering. I think here the English translation is very, very bad in the sense that if you don't have the Dhamma understanding, you completely cannot understand what he's trying to tell you. The English word like no meaning. So when you talk about no suffering, here the no is K-N-O-W, no, not N-O. So actually, in the Mandarin Mahayana version, Xuanhua explained it differently. I heard his Dhamma Sharing before. He said, 这是苦如因支啊. This is suffering. You have to understand what suffering is. 如因支. But the word, Mandarin word, 知 is 知道的知. The translation is the English word know. You must know what suffering is. But actually, the actual Pali word is different. The Buddha said, when he proclaimed the first noble truth of suffering, dukkha, he stated the 8 conditions and the final summary. The final summary summarizes all of suffering. So, under that proclamation, the Buddha just said, there is this noble truth of dukkha, means prevalence of suffering. This universe is full of suffering. And what are these suffering? He summarized all of existence into 8 conditions, 8 realities. He said, if you live life long enough, you will confront this 8 reality which we have gone through. Birth, old age, sickness and death. The first 4, very common. 生老病死. So this one we have gone into, we understand. But the 5th, 6th, 7th, and the last one, especially the 8th one, is most powerful. The 5th one is, the Buddha say, when there is this, what they call separation from your loved one, from the things that you own, that you hold on to dearly, suffering will arise. So, this 5th separation from loved one can happen in many ways. Your loved one can leave you because of disease, sickness, or sudden death. Then sometimes it is through condition, like during war, or during riots, or nature's happening. Suddenly, you may get yourself detached from your loved one, separation. It's like during war, like Ukraine now. A lot of these things happen. Then sometimes tsunami, earthquake, or nature's disaster. Then sometimes it may be due to disease, sickness, and death. Then separation arises. Then the other one is divorce, relationship breakdown, and all things. So all this leads to suffering. So the Buddha said the 5th one is very common. Then during economic downturn, when you make a wrong call, you make a mistake, your investment, your business, everything that you think you own, maybe you just wipe off because of certain economic events or situation, or nature's disaster. Then after that, the 6th condition is when you are with people whom you don't like, suffering will arise. Then the 7th one is when you cannot get what you want, when things don't go your way, when your expectations in life are not met, when you cannot get what you want, suffering arises. So this first 7 reality is very common, and they cover most part of your life. Then the last one is, it will include everything, all of life. He said, in short, the Buddha said, it is due to your sakayaditi, your self-delusion, that condition you to grasp and cling on to this so-called 5 aggregate of form and mind. As a human being, this is our form and mind, the physical body and the consciousness, the 5 aggregate. If you deludedly grasp onto it and hold on to it and believe that it is you, then you suffer. The 5 aggregates, the grasping aggregate, is dukkha. That final summary is the most powerful. You must inquire, why did the Buddha say that? And how can you understand it? To understand that, you must understand what is the 5 aggregate. That's why you must have sati, mindfulness, to see and to understand. Then from there, develop the understanding and the inquiry. So, if you track everything that arises in life, nothing is apart from this 8 suffering. Everything about life is included under here. It has something to do with your 5 aggregate. So this prevalence of suffering, the Buddha said, when you confront this 8 reality without the Dhamma understanding and the wisdom, you will suffer. You will become afflicted. So that is the first turning wisdom. Then after that he said, this noble truth or dukkha is to be understood. Not just know about it, no. You must understand what it is. No. That's why you have to inquire under the second turning, reflect, contemplate, and inquire. Why did the Buddha say that? How can I understand it? That's why you have to go into it. Suffering is to be understood means you have to go through the reality to experience it. Then only you can understand what suffering is. Unless you go through old age, sickness and death, separation and all those things. That's why as you go through life, you experience them, that you will come to know when you don't have the wisdom to see things as they are, to not develop the delusion to attach, cling and hold on to all this, you will definitely suffer. You will be afflicted. Especially the first four, birth, old age, sickness and death. Because if you believe the physical body and mind belong to you, as you experience old age, sickness and death and birth, you will suffer because you don't like what happened. You don't want your body to grow old, get sick and die. Then you will suffer. But this one is not you. This one is made of the four elements, go the way of nature. When consciousness separates, the entity is gone. When conditions cease to be, it disperses and cease to be. So this one goes the way of nature. You like it or you don't like it, it is going to happen that way. And this one is not you. That's why old age, sickness and death is not you go through old age, sickness and death. It's a physical form, which is not you. This is karmically conditional. The Namarup, form and mind, that come, the vehicle and the tool. And this one is dependent originating, condition arising, not a permanent unchanging entity that you can grab onto, hold on to, and cling onto. So all this understanding is what you need to develop as wisdom. That's why the 5 daily contemplation is to help the cultivator of the way to free the mind from the first noble truth reality. The first 3 contemplation is to deal with the first 4 reality. The Buddha said, this physical body of ours is of the nature to grow old, get sick and die. For it has not gone beyond old age, sickness and death. It's because this one is the physical body. Goes the way of nature. It's not you. It's dependent originating, condition arising, causal phenomena. Since birth until now, that physical body has been transforming and changing. Which moment, which time frame is the entity you? They are never you. Every moment, every instant, the bodily cells and its formation, they are ever changing. Your cells, they are dying. They are also decaying. Then some, they are born into new existence, and then they sustain and they go through the growth process. And all this are constantly happening within our form and mind. That's why our consciousness, our heartbeat, our whatever pulse of life within, our feeling, our mental activity, sensation, they come and they go, they arise and they pass away. They are in a state of flux. That's why they are all dependent, originating, condition arising, cause of no reality, not a permanent unchanging entity where you can hold on to, grasp onto and say, this is me, this is I. But every moment is different. So, at which point of time can you say, this is me, this is I? Impossible. Then when it died, did you really die? No. We have meditated, we have gone into it, we know. The form is never us, it goes the way of nature. Feeling is never us, it goes the way of nature. It come and it go, and we didn't die. The form come and go, our nature didn't die. So, if they are not you, then why did they arise in you? Basically, who are you? What are you? This is what meditation is all about. Unless you completely return to your silent mind, your true nature, from there you silence everything and develop the understanding, the awakening, the realization. You can never comprehend all this that has been shared by the Buddha. So after he proclaimed the first noble truth, he said, this noble truth or dukkha is to be understood. So you have to contemplate into it, reflect into it, go through the stages, the 8 reality one by one, like what I taught you all before. Why did the Buddha say birth is suffering? Old age, sickness, and death is suffering. Separation, go into it one by one. Then as you reflect and contemplate, you recollect real life example. Why suffering arises? Suffering means what? Stress, fear, worry, anxiety, sorrow, lamentation. Based on the 8 reality. Then you realize the teaching is so true, so beautiful, so precise. It affects every aspect of human psyche and nature. Then you realize without these teachings, understanding, you cannot break free. You cannot deal with life. You cannot come to terms with life. You cannot understand life. That's why this teaching is so beautiful. The moment I read the Four Noble Truths in the year 1971, I straight away knew this is it. No need to search. Nobody can teach like that. Nobody can summarize all of his understanding into just Four Noble Truths. So beautiful. And this is the beauty of the Buddha Dharma, the Buddhist teaching. And from there, I penetrated. I realized what this thing is, and it was so beautiful. Then the Buddha not only didn't end there. He teach you how to develop the wisdom. So what is mentioned by Hsuan there is only the second turning wisdom. So the English word there, after I go through with you, is not correct. You better go and read my notes. My notes there, I think got more things. Go to the sharing part. So here, no suffering is not the correct word. The second turning is, this noble truth or dukkha is to be understood. Means you have to understand what is. You have to contemplate, reflect, and go into it, the 8 reality, and understand it completely. So what happens is when you do this type of contemplation, reflection, and inquiry, that is stand up to investigation, your faith becomes very strong. Then as you contemplate and reflect, you stabilize the understanding. What you have heard last time in the proclamation, the first turning, the hearing part, normally is not strong. Where you haven't gone into the contemplative understanding. You haven't reflected, contemplate, and inquire and go deep into it to stabilize your understanding, then assimilate all this understanding into your nature. Not as memory, understand? No. Into your nature. Means you understand it through that contemplative wisdom. And to contemplate, you must have that type of silent mind. The mind that is tranquil, peaceful, with clarity, attentive. Or we call it the mind that is in the state of, like you go to a tranquil setting, very conducive, then your mind is in that state. Creativity. It must be in the state of creativity. Creativity means what? It means that mind is completely silent. Creative means it's not full of knowledge, understand? Trying to know and trying to argue and trying to reason and thinking you know. That one is not the one. The creative mind is the one that is in a very tranquil setting. Then they listen attentively to everything that unfolds. Then when they contemplate, the Dhamma will unfold. Then that creative mind, that silent mind that is contemplating will suddenly like aha moment. Oh, that's the reason why the Buddha said, this noble truth or dukkha is to be understood. If I don't reflect, I don't contemplate, especially birth is suffering, you can never understand why birth is really suffering. Maybe the mother who has gone through it may understand more. But those who are not there may not have understood more unless you are interested in that field. So all this creative understanding is the second turning wisdom. Then when they arise, they form the initial wisdom that can actually free your mind. So the 5 daily contemplation, I only deal with the first 3 that deals with the first 4 reality. Then the 4th contemplation is separation. The Buddha said, all that is mine, your loved one, your prized possession, things that you hold on to dearly, they are dependent, originating, condition arising. When conditions cease to be, they will separate from you. So separation leading to suffering is a reality you must contemplate. So whatever you own, don't cling, don't hold, don't grab, because they are dependent, originating. Even your loved one, they are not forever yours. Even your own physical body doesn't belong to you. How can you own anything, possess anything, and have anything? So this 4th contemplation, daily contemplation on separation, is very powerful. When you contemplate on that, then you can come to terms with a lot of things in life that arise and happen within life and nature. Then the last one is, of course, the 5th daily contemplation, the most powerful and most important. The Buddha says you must reflect every day. Each and every one of us, including non-humans, we are all born our karma, heir to our karma, conditioned and supported by our karma. We are what we are because of our karma. So when you understand this, what must you do? Your entire life depends on karma. You are born of it, heir to it, conditioned and supported by it, and you are what you are because of it. So when you know this, you will straight away wake up and see the urgency of cultivation and practice. You will not delay anymore, because if you delay, you will suffer. So you will diligently strive on with heedfulness to take care of karma. When you take care of karma, karma take care of your life. You are born of it, heir to it, conditioned, supported by, and you are what you are because of it. So taking care of karma is to follow the advice of the Buddha. That's how the teaching come about, to avoid all evil, do good, purify the mind. And how to avoid all evil? Keep your precepts. Your precepts are major evil. That's how the teaching all come about. Then that day, Beng Lim mentioned about the mind map that he heard in the sharing of the YouTube, and the one prepared by my daughter Sui. The mind map is very beautiful. That one spin off from all this contemplation on the contemplative wisdom and the third turning wisdom. They are all there in the mind map, fully mapped out. And you have to go through that one. The whole thing. That's why the Noble Eightfold Path cultivation is a big field of cultivation. Not until you can go through and develop all this understanding, you are still far away from developing the real Dhamma understanding or wisdom as taught by the Buddha. So this initial wisdom is really very good, very powerful. It can lead to a lot of initial understanding that can free your mind from attachment, from clinging, from craving. But it's not that penetrative yet. But at least at the moment of sense experience, this understanding will surface and prevent you from being caught and get yourself entangled with life through delusion, through wrong thought, wrong view, everything. So all this understanding will surface and prompt you at the moment of sense experience, so that your mind will not panic, will not stir, will not react, will not create the fear, worry, anxiety, sorrow, and lamentation. And together with all the teaching, no amount of fear, worry, anxiety, sorrow, or lamentation can help you solve your problem. You can't. You need to understand it. That's why this noble truth or dukkha is to be understood. When you understand, then you will know how to come out of it. Where the Buddha said, understand means what? Understand the cause behind its arising is through Sakkaya Ditthi. And the main cause is craving, clinging, grocery. Where you have Sakkaya Ditthi. You think you exist. You think you are real. Then you grasp, you cling, you hold, you become emotional, you become fearful. The three ill urges, they arise from there. That's why this understanding is very powerful. The moment you understand, you awaken. That's why suffering is to be understood. Yeah. So when you go through the contemplation, you understand. Then when you understand, then you will also understand the second noble truth. He said the cause of arising of suffering is actually craving, born of sakayaditi, self-delusion. So under the second turning, you go back to the notes. Three. Yeah. So here, Shenhua, they all go and translate cut off the origin. You cannot understand what is going on. Here, the meaning is actually direct translation from the Mandarin. He say, craving is to be severe. The first one is suffering. Suffering is to be understood. Then under the second noble truth is the cause of arising of suffering. But here under the Mahayana, they say accumulation, 苦寂, accumulation. So this accumulation is to be severe. You have to severe it. You have to actually 如应断, is it? You have to actually severe it. Means the English word is what? You have to like craving is to be. Actually, the wisdom part is understanding. The moment you understand, you cannot attach, you cannot hold on. But he said, craving is to be cut off, understand? Or severe, understand? Means actually you cannot cut off on. You need wisdom. When you have the wisdom, you know this is a cause of suffering. You cannot hold already, understand? So what is there to let go? No need to let go on. So under the second turning, craving is to be understood too. Understand? The cause of arising of suffering, which is craving, is to be understood. Well, all this has to do with the suffering. Then the third turning, the third noble truth is suffering need not be. Enlightenment in the here and now is possible. So this part, you read the English word, you totally liabok, you don't know what the fellow is trying to tell you. Long for extinction. And the long word is L-O-N-G. Actually, the third noble truth is cessation of suffering. So this cessation of suffering is to be realized, not long for that cessation. You have to realize it. So your inquiry is, how can you realize it? That's why you must go into the contemplative wisdom. So to realize it, you have to follow the advice of the Buddha. Learn to see things as they are. Understand? Learn to come to terms with the reality of the moment, seeing things as they are, means without delusion, without craving, without attachment, without grasping, clinging. That's why it will have the ability of acceptance, where you can accept the reality of the moment. People are just the way they are, the world is the world. Then the acceptance free the mind. When the mind is free, it can develop the wisdom to cease. That's why this cessation of dukkha is to be realized. You have to realize it, no choice. Then finally, cultivate the way. Again, is not the correct English translation. The fourth noble truth is actually this noble eightfold path is to be cultivated. When you cultivate, it will lead to the end of all suffering. So the fourth noble truth, which is this noble eightfold path, is to be cultivated. You cannot just like knowledge, know it, no use. You can rattle off the noble eightfold path, no use. But you have to cultivate it. Means it has to be part of you. Means the embodiment of this Noble Eightfold Path factor must be in you. That's why the second turning is very important. So here is not explained clearly. Huh? Anyway, you want to know more, you should go to my explanation part. Understanding the meditation as taught by the Buddha, a compilation of email written by me to various Buddhist group and Dhamma friends. This book is in the website. There's an e-book also. You can go through it. I don't know which chapter is in one of the chapter. I try to get you the chapter. Okay, it's chapter 4. Chapter 1 is handful of leaf. Then chapter 2 is what is meditation, part 1. Then what is meditation, part 2 is chapter 3. Then chapter 4 is the 3 turning and 12 mode of the Four Noble Buddha. This is the one. It's explained inside there. So you go through it. It will save us time. Then you can listen to what I share again. Then the whole picture of this 3 turning of the Four Noble Truths will become clear. Then you can develop the understanding and the progress very fast. Okay? So I will mark that page. We will stop there because it's almost 10:03 already. Okay, so we can have our second session. So now I'll open up for maybe meditation reporting and Q&A.
Good evening, Brother. This is Stu and Kalamita. Brother, 我好久都没有做我的 meditation， 因为也是很忙啦。
看到你很累。
对，但是刚才我在 meditate 的时候，我的 breath 很快就很
still
就没有呼吸，但是你就 fully aware， 他就很清楚的知道。而且在听 Brother 讲课的时候，好像直接的在我的心里面
from the heart, you listen from the heart. Very good.
So it was very beautiful and a very good rest. 最近我 develop some understanding through Brother Song the sharing and Brother the explanation.
Very good. 那天的很好了，
对
Thursday
on the
class.
Thursday 就是 after that 我就 reflect on it. Then the next day 当我在浇水的时候，我在浇花的时候then all this understanding came to me like 他就是知道怎样讲，他就是好像一个jigsaw puzzle这样，全部回来给我这样，但是他是一刹那这样的，我就对，你又不是刻意的去
你不可以去 purposely look for it， it just surface happen，
就是这样，然后你就知道什么是自利。
Correct.
然后什么是利他，就是那个菩萨道的。
All the bodhisattva
one. 你又知道什么是菩提心。
对。
then 你又知道，它是一刹那这样。
这样全部进来。It will keep on arising. That's why the cultivation is very unique one. This type of cultivation, I take a bit of time to explain this. This one is very important. You see, as you cultivate, you will come to this realization that this Dhamma is not a knowledge. It's not something from memory or what people tell you. You can understand it there and then, very deep, beyond what people can tell you in the books or even in whatever sharing or talk. But when you realize it, like what Alicia went through, you will understand that word very deeply, like just now she mentioned a few in Mandarin, of course. 度他自利利他利他
就是你先 liberate 你自己，然后去
liberate others 自利利他 all this like you have to liberate yourself first, means through your own realization, which the Buddha every time mentioned. Unless you can free yourself, you cannot help to free others. He mentioned in the Salika Sutta, if you yourself are trapped in the Kwamaya, how can you help somebody come out of the Kwamaya? Can't. Unless you free yourself from the Kwamaya, then you only can do something to help others. So cultivation is like that one. You will understand it very deeply, not through books or whatnot. Because when you reach that phase of cultivation, the meaning all come out by itself. Like the Pali word, the Sankara, everything. I understand it myself, the Four Noble Truths, whole thing. The meaning becomes so clear to you. Where it's related to life, to existence. That nature realizes it, Then, of course, it connect back to my past cultivation also. Then when this one unfold, the understanding become very, very profound and very deep one. Very different one. That's why you cannot find it in normal books or hear it from any sharing one. It's not like that one. Because this is something that is very individual. Like the Buddha said, under the salutation to the Sangha, to the Dhamma. This Dhamma is pacetang, can be realized by the wise, each for themselves. That's it. Only the wise can realize it, can understand it. If you are not the wise one, you have not developed the cultivation until that stage and that phase, you can never understand. You can never realize it. So what Alicia is sharing just now is very good. Where she, like Ichana, suddenly it come. And the understanding is very deep one, very profound one. This is what will happen if you cultivate correctly. It's not a knowledge one. Then you realize that word, the Bodhisattva way or whatever that you come across, the meaning stand out one, become very different one. It's just like a lot of Kalyamita used to tell me, but till initially when I listen to you, I cannot understand what you say. Then as I cultivate more, develop the awareness and mindfulness sati more and more, then I read again, I listen again, it's different again. Then later on you will reach a stage where you're able to locate your gateway. Then your nature become activated and transformed. And during that time, the understanding become more deep and more profound. And that time is very different, like what Alicia and Puja they all have gone through, and even a few more other Kalyamita. They will understand it very much deeper and clearer one. And that one really, only that nature understand what that thing is. Then he cannot like explain to you why, because this is part and parcel of cultivation, the process of Dhamma. It will unfold that way on. And this is what cultivators should understand. Don't be too eager to progress. The progress will come when you do it correctly. When you do it correctly, everything will unfold. And your nature will know. That's why the wise one, Pacetang, they will know what this thing is. No need to confirm with others and all those things. It is very clear inside there. Very good. Sadhu. You continue.
Yeah, radio. 因为之前很多的时候，就听到人家讲不会吉大什么什么，其实我不明白，但是经过那天之后，我就明白，因为他是很 clear 的给你 understand， 就是他从你的这边心这边他好像这样出来，你很难啊。
对，那个菩提心inside you will know what the thing is or not. Well, it's really the Bodhi mind, the mind that is full of Bodhi. Bodhi is enlightenment. The mind that seek enlightenment and realize enlightenment. And that mind is very different. That's why when we plant the seed of Bodhi, it will take off one. And it will bring forth the way and show it to you. That Buddhi singer, that of course the Vajrayana, I think the Tibetan, they use Bodhicitta. They like this word. Because both are Pali words. Chitta is mind. Bodhi is enlightenment. So Bodhi Chitta is the enlightened mind. But Bodhi mind, to me, is easier to understand because we are English educated. So the mind that seek Bodhi, that's why the Bodhi mind or Bodhi Chitta, that meaning is very beautiful. They coin this word. It's just like Mandarin word, two words make one very beautiful, deep meaning type of Mandarin words when they link them together. So these two are the same, Bodhi and Chitta, or Bodhi mind. Very good. How? Continue.
Hello, Brother, 菩提心之前，其实我也是不大一知半解这样。可是当我们cultivate the Bodhisattva way， or so called， 我根本不知道怎样去 cultivate。其实，但是我就是怎样讲，就是 carry on 我的 duty，follow Brother 的 advice，you know，就是做很多的 contemplation on。or Dharma investigation， 就是在我们的 daily life 里面去见证每一件每一个 Dharma 的 arising、sustenance 跟 ceasing， 全部你就会在从中知道那个所谓的苦啊，所有的它的Dharma 的 manifestation 啊，还有我们这个 so called 的 five aggregate 怎样 function 啊，所以在这个里面，就是我想讲的这个菩提心，原来 suddenly 我明白，原来我们所谓的菩提心就是为众生成佛。Oh my God, I was like,
That's why 菩提心就会带你走这条路，菩萨道。去 realize the Sama Sambuddhahood and take living being across. That's why 那个菩提心会 move you to cultivate wisdom, the 菩提。That word 菩提 is very important. We have Bodhi tree of enlightenment is beneath this tree that the Buddha became the fully enlightened one. So that word Bodhi is a very beautiful Pali word, 菩提心。And that mind that has Bodhi keep on seeking wisdom, perfecting itself, taking beings across, doing all the work that need to be done. That's why as you go deeper and deeper, this Bodhi mind will evolve and become very, very different. That's why that vow that we take, the initial vow, the 4 basic vows, when your cultivation haven't reached the later stage, it may not be so powerful yet. But when you reach the later stage of the cultivation, that Bodhi mind that you have planted and evolved and developed become very different. And that one will take you along, drive you, develop the understanding, the perfection, the cultivation. Everything is done by itself. 你什么都不用做。You only have to plant the seed of Bodhi that it will drive you. Then 那个愿力为了众生，为了那个nature and everything, you will know what to do. Then that seed of Bodhi that you plant because you actually develop the vow, everything. You sacrifice and you understand that he know you, he know me. And this journey is not what people think, especially when you reach the 4th stage of Bodhi mind development. 那个第4 stage is very powerful. Even the 3rd stage is very powerful. When you are able to illuminate that Bodhi mind or that true nature until it becomes very, very clear. That stage, the Bodhi mind that illuminate that nature is already very, very advanced. After you go through that stage, you will move on to the 4th stage. The 4th stage, even the beginning is already powerful, very powerful. The beginning of the 4th stage is like the end of the 3rd stage. Bodhi mind that illuminate that nature. From there, you will come to know that samsara is not what you think. Then that fourth stage is Bodhi mind that renounces samsara. Means samsara is nothing really to you. There is no more thought that tell you, oh, it takes eons and eons and eons. No more such word already. Because you know samsara is not real. But with this understanding, when you come, life is so beautiful, so meaningful, so wonderful. That's why the cultivation, the journey is so rewarding. So the Bodhi mind that breaks through all these stages can become very powerful. That's why Bodhi mind development, there are 5 stages. The 5 stages is very powerful. First is to plant the seed of Bodhi, already very powerful. Then the Bodhi mind that's severe, all this what they call suffering, attachment, craving, clinging, all those things. So all this is the stage of renunciation where the Bodhi mind understand all this. That's why it can endure and severe all suffering. That Bodhi mind that can go through the second phase is already very powerful. So after you've gone through that one, means perfection or wisdom is there already. Your suffering is no more problem already. Because that Bodhi mind that can endure and severe all suffering means it has completed more or less the perfection of wisdom. Otherwise you cannot go through the second stage of Bodhi mind development. Then after that you have to connect to your true mind, your silent mind, your gateway. Once you go in and develop until this one transform until very, very clear, then the third phase of Bodhi mind development will start to surface. Bodhi mind that illuminate our nature. That phase is very beautiful, and that phase take very long also before you can finally fully illuminate that thing. Then realize the fourth phase of Bodhi mind development, which is Bodhi mind that renounces samsara. Then after that, you are destined. You cannot fall back already. Once you hit the third stage and the fourth stage of Bodhi mind development, you cannot fall back already. As a bodhisattva, all the way you will realize your whatever perfection and cultivation. So this Bodhi mind development, for those who have gone through, you will understand one, and it's going to become very, very beautiful. 你会越来越懂 later on. Then 你要 contemplate 这个5个 stages of Bodhi mind development, which is in my Bodhisattva Vow book, the blue book. You go and read through that one, you will understand it much better. So this Bodhi mind development, the 5 phases, they are very beautiful. Then 你越 penetrate 越 different one, it will transform you more and more until one day you are really amazed that this way is so rewarding, so beautiful, and words cannot describe it. That's why the Dhamma is not only wonderful, amazingly wonderful, and a lot of things living being can never understand. Only true cultivator of the way. That's why only the great being, they know what this thing is. And as they go through the cultivation, the perfection, they develop that type of understanding which is so different from normal sainthood way cultivation. Is so different. So this part, we should thank Alicia for creating the condition for my native teacher to share and to go deeper into it. Because the 5 stages of Bodhi mind development is not easy to comprehend and understand. In the early day, I only mentioned a little bit here and there, but today I elaborate more. So all this hopefully is like meant to be recorded. Then cultivator of the way in the future, they will find this very useful. What is being shared today is very different from the normal sharing. That's why you need cultivator of the way to go through those stages and phases. Then only the condition can arise. Then my nature can share. Otherwise I can't. Because if nobody able to appreciate that teaching, then there is no condition to share. Not to say I want to share, or no condition to share. Then sometimes it may not be the living being or human being that wants to learn all this. Sometimes it's a non-human out there who wants to know. Then they condition one of the living being to ask in such a way that my nature will understand and share it to them. That's why in the early day, I remember when I was starting to share the first 5 years, I remember, suddenly for no reason, that question come. I realize the audience don't understand or no, but the question come in such a way that my nature can understand. When I share, there's a lot of rejoicing up there or no. So then the thunder, everything very loud. Then a lot of things happen. So that one was the early years. Because in the early, hardly anybody understand what I share. But there were occasions where there is like condition for it to arise, that it will happen on. And when it comes, the sign, my nature can know it. Then I will just share. And then it's straight from the heart come out. It's not from memory or whatever. And sometimes the thing that I say, after I finish the sharing, I also ask myself, why did I share all this? Because nobody really can understand at that time. Then later on I came to know it's because all these higher beings up there, they want the teaching. Especially every time in Sampo temple, there were a few occasions will happen on in the retreat. Then all this will unfold, it will manifest. So this is what cultivation of the Buddha Dharma is, when you do it correctly and when you develop the right practice, cultivation and understanding, then the whole unfolding of this beautiful cultivation of Dhamma will manifest in a very, very amazing and wonderful way. That's why I have faith and develop the what they call strong adittan or affirmation of truth and all those things, invoke power of merit for causes and conditions, for you to have this ability to go this way and go all out to perfect it, stabilize it, cultivate it, so that after this life, the whole future of this journey of cultivation of form and mind is already set. And no matter got sasana or no sasana, when you come, you will have this understanding. And this bodhi mind will keep on moving, keep on generating the understanding and unfolding like never-ending story. It will continue to move, continue to perfect itself, continue to cultivate. And there will be more and more understanding, leading to more and more joy, more and more faith and understanding. So this is where the beauty of this unfolding of Dhamma is. So all this, we should really develop the faith and strive on with heedfulness to seek this understanding. So hopefully, with this sharing, you all should rejoice. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, good. Have you 3 minutes? 要 summarize
是，不然就信就是 faith 哈，
信 faith
所以那天在dinner，我记得有跟 Brother 分享说，我在观世音菩萨面前有发愿，因为我速知一切法，所以他可能就是因为将他 manifest 这个 condition 给我去明白，
对，
所以其实我不知道我怎么样的去怎样讲，就是做罢了啦，就是老老实实的去做罢了，对，然后每天就是carry 你的 duty 啊，然后 把那个佛法在每一个角落，就是你每做的每一件事的，把佛法融进去，然后看它的 manifestation， 然后这样子从中学习，就磨练我们的心，然后我们就慢慢的一点一点的进步，不管它有多久。是，反正我们
no need to know
我们就不需要知道，只要踏出，只要肯付出，这样就对了。感恩 Brother， 感恩大家，阿弥陀佛。
阿弥陀佛 ，Let us rejoice. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. This is beautiful. When you develop the understanding, you just do, like I say, persevere, have faith, sincerely walk this way and persevere. Then everything will unfold itself. Because this way is so unique, so beautiful. And when it unfolds, it will not have that type of mundane thinking to create doubt or create what they call, it's like doubt, but it's like, there's another word. It's like make you feel that you don't have that type of ability to go this way on. Then sometimes the thought will come and tell you, who are you? You think you can go this way? It's not for everybody. This type of thought will come on in the early days, if you are not stable. But for me, I don't have such problem. That's why I don't go through all this. I don't know. But I heard a lot of these people, I realize they got coming obstruction on. They come and tell me, hey, you dare to take Bodhisattva vow? You play a fool, I say. You vow, no. Hey, take aeons, no. They got this type of thinking, no. It becomes coming obstruction. And they say all this without realizing the consequence. That's why when you simply manifest that type of speech, especially when you are talking to cultivator of the way, I tell you that coming obstruction in future, when you want to take this way, you will meet up with people who will tell you worse thing than what you tell people. And you will be blocked like anything, I tell you. That's why have an open mind. Do not simply say things unless you have clear understanding and you're very sure. Otherwise, my advice to you is have an open mind and don't go and say all these things. Because what people has gone through and understood may be way, way beyond what you have understood. Your limited knowledge and understanding actually delude you into believing that what you come up with, the idea, is very like, to you, you may think you are trying to prevent people from making that mistake. But inwardly, it's the opposite, where you are selfish. You scare people go that way. You want people to follow you, where you dare not go that way. And this is all, most of it, linked to karmic from your past on. Why you have such thought is from the past, where you did that. You say all those things. So unless you ask for forgiveness to break from all this karmic obstruction, it's not easy. But I think for us, Kayamita, now I haven't heard for a long time already. I only heard at the year 2016, 2017 when they want to take the Bodhisattva vow. First time when I was about to hold it. That time got a group of new people waiting from other state. They were very having problem. So only that time. After that, until now, I don't have such. I didn't hear any of this anymore, which is to me something very beautiful, very wholesome. So anyway, don't worry. Whatever it is, even if you have been there and do all those things, you ask for forgiveness, then have an open mind. Break your karmic obstruction and you will be free. You don't have to worry about all this other thing. But what I want to share is, this way is so beautiful. Unless you have the understanding, you better have an open mind. Don't simply comment without understanding. Okay, so we end. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Okay, we will do the sharing of merit, transfer of merit, then we will do the closing puja. Akasata cha bhumata devanaga mahindika punyang tang anumoditva chirang rakantu loka sasana ittavata camehi sampadan punya sampadan sabbe deva anumodantu sabba sampati siddhya idang me nyatinang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo idang me nyatinang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo idang me nyatinang hotu sukhita hontu nyatayo devo vasatu kalena sasa sampati hetu cha Vito bhavatu loko cha raja bhavatu dhammiko imina punyang kamena mame bala samagamo sattang samagamo hotu yawa nivana patiya sadhu sadhu Sadhu. Okay, you all can now pay respect mindfully to Lord Buddha, Kuan Yin Bodhisattva, and all the worthy ones. Then we will end the whole sharing, the Zoom session. Thank you. Sadhu.